for U.S.-based investments. But of course, if you're a U.S.-based investor and you're getting higher personal taxes, then you're going to pay those higher personal taxes on your income, regardless of where it's sourced. You get dividends from foreign stocks and you're in America, you're paying a higher tax on those dividends as well. And you get capital gains, you're getting taxed on your gains regardless of where those companies are based that you're trading. You're still getting hit with the U.S. tax if you're a U.S. taxpayer. So again, that's one reason I'm in Puerto Rico. One of the reasons is because I'm a Puerto Rico taxpayer, and they have a much more favorable tax system. What are your thoughts on shorting long-term U.S. Treasury bonds? Look, I mean, I have a small short position myself. I've had for a while. I've lost money on it. Look, I do think eventually bond prices are going to collapse. There's no question about that. It's going to happen. I mean, it should have happened years ago. It hasn't, so it's long overdue. It's going to happen. But I think the biggest losses are going to hit people that own treasuries. Because if I'm bearish on the dollar, then I'm more bearish on treasuries because they're just future payments of dollars. And the only thing worse than getting a dollar today is getting it in 10 years or getting it in 30 years when it's going to be worth even less. If you have to wait that long to get your depreciating dollars, by the time you get them, they would have lost a lot more of their buying power. So the losses are going to be horrific in the bond market. So yeah, I mean, the short should make money. But again, I'm concentrating my firepower on being short the dollar because the way the government props up the bond market is by printing dollars and buying bonds. So they have to sacrifice the dollar to prop up bonds. But when you sacrifice the dollar, by definition, you sacrifice bonds because bonds are just dollars. They're dollars to be paid to you in the future. So I think that the better trade is just to be short the dollar. And you can be short the dollar by being long gold. You can be short the dollar by being long foreign equities. That will go up as the dollar goes down. That's just what I'm choosing to do. I think that is the best strategy. Mojon Inc., best for business for those renouncing citizenship for freedom and low taxes. Somebody's throwing some countries out there. The United Arab Emirates, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Bahrain, Monaco, Jersey, Bahamas, Switzerland. Yeah, of course, look, there are a lot of countries that if you are a citizen of those countries, you face much lower taxes than citizens of the United States. Now, at one point, America had the lowest taxes in the world. That's why we became the richest country in the world. But now we have higher taxes. Do we have the highest taxes in the world? No. But one of the things that we do that's almost uniquely American is that America taxes its citizens even if they're not in America, even if they moved out of the United States and they're working in a foreign country. America still taxes them. That's not the case. If you're a citizen of Singapore, if you're a citizen of Switzerland, and you move out of Switzerland and you earn money from outside of Switzerland, Switzerland doesn't tax you on that income. So having a Swiss citizenship, being Swiss, is you have a lot more freedom than being American. If you're an American, the U.S. government says, look, we want a cut of your action no matter where you go. We don't care where you live. We want our cut. And if taxes go up to 50%, then we want half of whatever you earn. We don't care if you ever step foot in this country. You can earn all your money outside the United States. Give us half of what you earn as the cost of a citizenship. But if you're a Swiss and you move out of Switzerland, you can be Swiss. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to contribute anything to the government. If you're not there, if you're not utilizing the services that the Swiss government is providing, they're not forcing you to pay the tax. But America wants you to pay the tax just for the privilege of having citizenship. Even if you're not in the U.S., utilizing any of the services that are supposedly provided, by the U.S. government. Is there a libertarian argument for banning fracking if it can be demonstrated that it is harmful? Look, there's no argument for the federal government to ban anything. But certainly on a local level, to the extent that there's some proof of damage, the person responsible for that damage can be held financially accountable to the people he's damaged. Sure. And there can be local regulations if that's, if government wants to do that. Look, I'm not an anarchist. I'm not advocating for no government at all. I certainly want a very, very limited role for the federal government. And to the extent that there is environmental regulation, it should be imposed by those governments that are closest to the source of the pollution. So it's not the federal government that should be imposing these regulations. It should be the local governments that are closest to the source of whatever is contributing to pollution that may in fact be damaging other people. So just like local governments have police to protect you from crime, they could also have laws that protect you from other things that would harm you. Why is it not possible to create a low-cost fund like typical index funds that follows your strategy? Look, my strategy is not about indexing. See, part of my strategy is about stock picking. It's about the fact that if you just index, you're getting a basket of the most overvalued stocks. Now, for a while, indexing has kind of worked because everybody is mindlessly piling money into index funds, and then the index funds take the money and buy the same overpriced stocks, and so they get more and more expensive. But I think this fad of indexing is going to, end in disaster for everybody who's bought into it. So I want to actively manage portfolios. I want to seek out the value that other people are ignoring, and I have the patience to wait it out. And so, yeah, there aren't index funds that can replicate a managed strategy. By definition, you're managing, you're not indexing. And I know a lot of the managers, a lot of the value guys have been throwing in the towel. I mean, they've been very frustrated because the value stocks continue to languish as they're not the stocks that are being dominated by these indexers, and they're not where the money is flowing. But it's where the money is ultimately going to be made. The money is going to be lost in a lot of these index funds and a lot of the overpriced stocks that dominate these indexes. Here's a guy who says, let's find yourself in a pickle. You only have two places you can keep your wealth, US dollars or Bitcoin. Well, if it was, look, I would take dollars over Bitcoin if that was it. I mean, if I had to put all my money in dollars or I had to put all my money in Bitcoin, as much as I dislike the dollar, I think that's what I would have to do. But I'm never going to have to make that choice. So it's kind of like irrelevant because I don't like either. I don't think the dollar is going to survive in its present form, and neither will Bitcoin. The one thing about the dollar is it is more convenient for me to use dollars. So I actually need some dollars. I mean, I transact in them. I pay taxes in dollars. So I don't need Bitcoin for anything. I mean, I could speculate in it if I wanted to, but I don't actually need it. Whereas I do need dollars. I just don't need to hold on to dollars as a long-term store of value, but I do need to have them. And I always have, a certain number of dollars at my disposal because I'm transacting in them. Because the people who have goods and services that I need, that's what they want in exchange for providing those goods and services. And of course, I have to pay taxes, and that's the currency that the government demands that those taxes be paid. And so I need the dollars to make those payments. Okay, here's another Bitcoin question. I just have to ask, is there a market cap that Bitcoin can reach that says, okay, fine, I believe it will work? Look, so the question is, at some point, will the price of Bitcoin go so high that I just think it's going to work? And look, it's already gotten to 20,000, and I still don't think it's going to work. It's 14,000 almost right now. So that's already a pretty high price, given that it started from pennies. So, it's not a function of price that does it for me. I would actually have to see Bitcoin function and work as money, as a medium of exchange, as a unit account, as a store of value. I just don't think it's possible that Bitcoin can serve in that medium. I don't think it can do that. It hasn't done that. Now, there are other people that say, well, it doesn't actually have